Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the next episode of the Tulsa Life podcast. This morning, we have Melissa Coltis in with us, and we are so blessed to have her because we have like a Beth's mom. Beth is a team member of ours, and this is her mother, who is a best-selling author. So we're so excited to have you.
I'd like to say best-selling
I'm
author.
saying best-selling because
Okay.
anything, if you're selling, that's awesome.
Just claim it.
Claim it, own it. Let's
That's
go.
right.
Let's do it. So tell us a little bit about who you are. Give us kind of a background. We're going to get to talk about your book a little bit, but kind of tell us, how did you get started and kind of your journey there?
This is my first book. My background is more in IT. I've been doing quality assurance and Scrum Master, which is a methodology in IT for well over 20 years. Couldn't even tell you exactly how long it's been.
That's not a normal transition from IT to author.
No,
Okay.
not. This has been rattling around in my head for, gosh, at least 10 years. And it's the story of a little maple leaf that wants to hold on for Santa to meet him. But for whatever reason, it popped in my head a dozen or so years ago. And finally, it was like, you know what?
Just going to do
Kids
it.
are out of the house. I have free time. I can actually focus. And so wrote it down and had it edited. It probably went through. It honestly could go through editing again.
Well, it's interesting because I think that people think that you just come up with this great idea, write down all your thoughts, and then all of a sudden, bam, you have a book. And
Yeah,
it's not
I
that
wish.
easy.
I so wish.
So tell us what that process kind of looked like.
Because it's a children's book, luckily it's short. It's about 2 single-space pages. So that's about what it would come out to if you were, I believe it's about 1,100 words. So it's not long. For a children's book, you're not writing a lot. But then you have to break it up. Where's the page breaks going to be? Where are you going to write? And then you have people reading it and they go, that doesn't really flow or something. But in your brain,
it was perfect.
Yeah, it was just right. And what do you mean that's not right? So
Right.
it's kind of like somebody telling you your baby's ugly.
I could totally see that.
So
because this is your baby. I
Yeah.
mean, this is like you've put, there's no telling how many hours.
Yeah, I couldn't even give you a guesstimate as to how many hours have gone into it.
But this was your idea. So it's called Holding On for Santa, and it's a little leaf swish.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it because your pen name on here is Mimi Lakes.
It is.
And I was like, and I even asked beforehand, I was like, that's called and you said a pen name.
A pen name, right?
So,
or a pseudonym. Either one can work.
Okay. And so this came out when? How long has it been out?
It's only been out since, actually my birthday is when it was released, September 20th.
Okay, I was like, when is your birthday
September
now?
20th is when it went live.
So just in time for Christmas.
And hopefully people like it. And it's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart right now. All have it.
Nice.
So, Target is supposed to have it, but I can't find it.
Okay, so we're Target pending.
Yes,
Pending
Target
at Target,
pending.
finding it on Target. But that is so cool. So like when you thought about this and you're like you said, I have some free time.
Mm-hmm.
I've had this idea rattling around in my brain. How did you even decide? Did you just start writing and jotting down your ideas, or did you contact somebody and say, "This is what I want to do"? Where do I start? Because I think it's a lot like our business. Like people go, "Oh, it'd be nice to own a house, but I don't even know what to do."
Right. And for me, it was I just wrote it.
Okay.
And, initially it was like, well, what's going to happen to her and stuff like that. And Beth was actually like, you need a conflict, you need something to happen. So that there is a conflict that happens for her and something happens. So that had to get written in. It's like, okay, well, where am I going to put that? And how am I going to write that into it?
Work that in there. Yes.
And initially, all of the animals were like Miss Squirrel and Miss this and Mr. that. And it was like, oh, then that didn't sound right. And so it just became an evolution.
So did you give them names? See, I should have read this before we had this.
No, that's okay.
And I think I could have read it before. I think I should have just sat down and read it because I don't know that my vocabulary I could handle it.
I think you could have handled that, yeah.
I really should. I'm going to read it though, so I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. But no, they don't have name. The only one that has a name is the leaf, and her name is Mabel. Mabel the maple leaf.
Okay.
She was Mabel at one point. She was Mia at one point. I think she had 4 or 5 different names, and it got screen tested by the grandkids, and they were like, "Yeah, I don't like Mia." So I was like, oh, okay, well,
Okay,
let's come
then
up with
what else
something
are we gonna
else.
do? Yes.
So that went through, and we had to come up with a new name. And then, like I said, even now, I'm seeing things in there that I'm not thrilled with the way something flows. So
So do you ever feel like you'll be 100% satisfied though?
with this particular book, no.
Okay.
I don't, from what I hear from my author friends, no. Just
Okay.
never expect.
Just because it's probably like when you're an artist. I mean, because you are an artist and you paint something and you're like, it doesn't have all the feeling that I'm
Right.
feeling. I can't express that and make that, come out and show exactly how you're feeling.
Exactly. And like I said, I've been in IT. Well, the division of IT I've been in is quality assurance. And so
Oh,
I'm a
goodness.
tester.
Okay.
And so I can test forever.
Forever and ever.
And never stop. And that's the same with the book. I can find things and I can wordsmith it,
You're
but you
always gonna
have to
find
draw that
something.
line in the sand where it's like, I'm just done,
Done.
and I have to move on to the next project, or else it'll never
Right.
be done.
And it'll probably drive you crazy.
Oh, it will. I mean, even like I said, there's stuff in the graphics that I'm not 100% happy with. There's some, and
Yes.
I don't know that with a children's book you can be, because there are graphics. It's not just a novel where it's just words on paper.
Right.
So on top of the words on paper,
You
I
have
have
to make
the
sure
graphics.
it looks right. And
right.
yes. And that those match up and it feels right together. Okay. So you dedicated it to your grandkids.
Yep, all 5 of them.
Okay. So tell us about your grandkids.
I have 5, as I just said. So there's Rylan is on that side.
Mm-hmm.
My other daughter, Michelle, has PJ and Peyton. So boy and girl. And then I have Kinsley and Decker again with Beth.
Yeah.
So yeah, and they range from almost 8 in a couple weeks, all the way down to
Decker just turned
15 months,
Yeah.
14. Yeah, he just
He just
turned
turned 1 not too long ago.
October, right.
yes.
So yeah, we got,
And they keep you busy.
they do. And I have
you
4
live-
other children that have yet to provide grandkids.
No grandkids there yet, but you're going
Not
to
yet.
have a house full. And
I'm sure. Yeah,
And you live in Minnesota?
I do.
Okay.
North Central Minnesota. I'm about 2 hours south of the Canadian border.
Now, I don't feel like you have lived there all your life.
I have never lived anywhere all my life.
Okay, because you don't have a Minnesota accent.
No,
I feel like Minnesotans have like Minnesota. It's like that thick, heavy.
and it depends on which part. Are you talking more like Fargo?
Yeah, like it's almost like the Canadian. It's
Right,
like-
or are you talking
yes.
northern? Yeah, and they get the very Nordic sounding up
Yes.
the further north you get, and then you've got the Fargo
It is
people
a
over
cool
in North
accent.
Dakota.
I mean, but I don't hear that
No,
in so where you've lived a lot of places.
this is actually the 30th house I've lived in my life.
Oh my goodness! Why so many homes? Why moving around?
My,
so
my
much?
father was military.
Okay.
So we moved roughly every 18 months is what it averaged. Sometimes it wasn't a whole year in a
Wow.
location. Sometimes we got 2 years. So yeah, I averaged about 18
Okay, so
months.
as somebody who moved around a lot, did you have a favorite place?
North Carolina, as far as states, I think is one of the prettiest states I've
It is
ever
really
seen.
beautiful.
And you get all 4 seasons there, and depending on where you're at. And then Colorado is where I spent most of my life. That's the longest place I ever stayed.
Okay.
And I love being outdoors and climbing 14ers and doing that, skiing. And
Somebody asked me the other day, they were like, man, I wish you skied. And they're going on a ski trip because I'm always like, yeah, no, I'm going to go somewhere warm. I don't want to go somewhere cold. And so I said, oh, I wish you skied. And I said, oh, no, I ski. Like, I'm actually a really good skier. I just don't want to ski like that anymore for me. And I feel like the older I've gotten, I'm like, my body doesn't move like it used to anymore. And I'm like, I'm going to get up on that ski slope and I am going to break my hip. And I'm
Yeah, the falling down hurts a little bit now.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel the same as it used to. And when you're younger, and
not as appealing.
you can do a yard sale where you're just, your skis go one way, your poles go another way, and it's not a big deal.
I
but
love that
yeah.
at yard sale. It's like everything just goes.
And then, you fall a little bit now, and it's like, I
My
twisted
goal is
something.
to not fall, so I usually stick to like just the blues because I don't want to fall. So I'm like, if I just know that I'm not going to have that chance of falling, really, then it's the getting up that really is not fun for me.
Yeah.
Okay,
Getting
I'm
up's
done.
tough.
I'm done. Okay, so you moved around a lot. Do you think, or have you had a connection to books like your whole life? Because I've heard, like when your family is a military family and you move, I feel like some of the things that I've heard feedback from those people is that being connected and community is hard because you move so often, and that finally when you get some connections, then it's usually time to move again.
Yeah.
So do you feel like the reason that you are so connected to books and that you have that desire to do that, does that have something to do with that?
I had never thought of that, to be honest. I know my mother's mother was a huge reader. Just she would read everything and anything. So I just always assumed it was from her.
I could
But
see
now
it
that
too.
you're saying that, I mean, it's a very real possibility because I am fortunate that I'm an extrovert. I have 3 siblings who are all introverted, which was so things
Hard.
were a lot harder for them.
Yes.
But books have just always been great for me.
Mhm.
They've just always been something I enjoyed and did. But now that you say that, I'm going to have to do a little reflection
Now
and
you're
see if
like,
that had
maybe
something to
this is
do
part
with
of
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you didn't know I was so insightful.
I know, right?
Yeah. So deep's like, you want to lay down on the couch and we'll have a counseling
I,
session?
the free therapy is always good.
I don't. You know what? If it's free, that means it's probably not very good. So
That could be,
yeah,
yeah.
that would probably be the case in my case. I'm from a family of counselors, and I think they got all the counseling ability. My mother is a counselor, my sister is a counselor, and I'm like, yep, that's where it went. It went all over there. Kind of like you saying you're the extrovert and they're the introverts. But that probably served you really well. You probably looked at every new place as an adventure.
Yeah. It never bothered me to find
Mhm.
out. I'll rephrase that. High school, it was tough. It
That
was a
is tough.
lot tougher in high school, but growing up, it was always like, okay, where are we going? And yeah, it's sad to leave my friends, but when you're military, most of your friends are also military. So
They get it.
they're in the
They're in
same
the same
boat.
boat.
Having a new kid in the middle of the school year
It's
doesn't,
not I mean, it's not unusual.
no,
Mhm.
and nobody thinks about it. And it's just the way it is. And so most of my growing up, it was like that.
And what branch of the military was your dad in?
He was a Marine for 4 years
Okay.
and then switched over to the Army because he wanted to go medical.
So this is so interesting to me. I think that I'm not from a military family. Um, so I wasn't exposed to a lot of that world.
Mhm.
And it was always just one of those things in our household that we were so grateful and thankful, but I didn't understand how it worked. And I've heard more and more people that I didn't realize started out in one branch and then change and go to another
Mhm.
branch. I always felt like you're a Marine, you're always a Marine. And you're Air Force, you've always been in Air Force. But that's actually more common to start out in one and then move because of something of a
Right.
opportunity in a different branch.
Yeah, and I don't know how often it happens, but yeah, for the medical profession, if you want to go medical, you can only go Navy or Army.
Army. Okay.
Air Force really doesn't. I mean, they have nurses and stuff, but to have an actual medical corps are those 2 branches.
Okay.
And it's just a joke in the military. No self-respecting Marine would go into the Navy, even though they're property of the Navy. Most people don't realize the Air Force or the Marine Corps is not its own.
Oh yeah, because that's true. Because
Yeah, they're owned by the
that's
Navy.
right. That is aren't are Navy SEALs Marines? Or are they?
They can be.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. There could be some Navy SEALs who are Marines, and then some of them that are just Navy.
Right. And
But-
same with the pilots. You can have Marine Corps pilots, but they're kind of they are an offshoot of the Navy.
Okay.
So like my husband was a pilot and, he was considered Navy even though he was still a Marine. So yeah.
So do you
Naval
kind of,
aviator.
you kind of claim where you started, or do you claim, I don't know, or you just like maybe where you were the longest?
With the Marines, you always claim being a Marine.
Okay.
Once a Marine, always a Marine.
Okay.
Unless there is a dishonorable, you're a Marine.
Okay.
So, and my dad jokes that I collect Marines. So it's a side thing. But I mean, he retired. He actually didn't even retire from the Army. He got out of the Army, and when he finally retired, he was Bureau of Indian Affairs, I believe. He worked on a Native American reservation
Mhm.
at their hospitals, and so that's where he finally retired. But
Okay, so I know you're a huge book person, but do you like movies too?
not a whole lot
Okay.
actually. And my husband's a huge movie person.
Okay.
But I'm more, I can binge watch TV shows all day, but there's something about movies
that
that
you
it's,
just don't.
they're there.
Well, I really feel like book people usually are not as much movie people because books, in my opinion, are so much more detailed, so much more engaging and immersive, than a movie. And
Right.
so, especially most popular movies started out as books.
And they ruin them.
And then they run them. That's what most people did. I mean, we went and saw the new Hunger Games movie
Mhm.
the other night, and I'd read the book, and I love the Hunger Games series, which I'm a weirdo. I like the weirdest things, and everybody's always like, "Why do you like this stuff?" And I was like, "I don't know." But we went and saw it, and Noah, my almost 17-year-old, like loved it, and I did too. But I was like, "Oh, but they left so many things out that you really kind of want to know." And I was like, I should have not read the book before I saw the movie. I should have gone to the movie and then read the book, because I feel like, once you read the book, it's just no movie is ever going to come close.
Maybe that's why I like the series, like the Outlander series.
Yes.
They have done a phenomenal job of sticking with the books.
But they've got how many seasons? So I think if you have
we're at season
seasons and
6.
episodes, it's easier to do that
Yeah.
than it is to try to condense into just a small
Oh, absolutely.
2.5 hour, 3-hour movie. So, okay, so let's circle back really quick to the book. For anybody that's listening today that's thinking about, I've really wanted to get into writing and I've got ideas, and, I think there's all of these different people. What would be the first step that you would recommend? Who do they contact? Like, how do they?
So these are all self-published.
Okay.
So didn't have to deal with a publisher. I don't have an agent or anything. Amazon does a great publishing, but if it's a children's book, you have to look at length, because they have limits on. It has to be a minimum, I believe, of 35 pages. I could be wrong on that for theirs. But I use Ingram Sparks, which is another self-publishing. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything to get started. You can put it all out there. They've got some formatting rules that you have to follow, but then you will buy your own your
your going to be yours.
Yeah, the author copy. You'll want to get your author copy. That's when you go through, you look at it again and go, oh no, I messed this up, and so you have to do some edits and stuff. So it'll cost you. I think my first one was like $5.
Okay.
To get a copy of it and see what it was like and stuff. So, and that's kind of exciting. You get to see it in print for the first time.
You see it come to life.
And Ingram Sparks deals with everything. They're the ones that they tie in with Amazon, they tie in with Walmart, they tie in with Target. So, and I reached out to an author who recommended them to me. So that's how I got into it. And it's free, so it's not like you have to worry about a referral or anything like that.
And there's no rights to it. Like they don't own any of the rights.
No. Now with that, you need to worry about your ISBN, and that's the number, the little UPC on the back. If you buy it yourself, and each country has their own ISBN group that you have to go through, then you own it. And you can have anybody publish it. But if you have ISBN from a publisher like Amazon or whatever, they get the rights they're your publisher. They're the ones, and you can't take it anywhere else.
Okay.
So that needs to, and I could be wrong. I think it was 10 ISBNs for like $250.
Okay. So
and you need one for your hardback, one for your softback, and one for your Kindle edition.
And I know, you're right, different countries, because, I remember seeing Canadian price is X, U.S. price is X. So there's different barcodes for each of those, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So, you can't just transfer things around. And once it's one place, it's with you. But if you get it through a company like Amazon or Ingram Sparks, then you will be stuck with them.
Okay. So let's kind of wrap things up by telling us again, Holding On for Santa, and you can find it on Amazon, Walmart, almost Target, maybe Target. And what am I missing? One other
Barnes & Noble.
And Barnes & Noble, of course.
Yes.
So if you're looking for a great children's book for the holidays, this is a really, really awesome one to look into, that you're supporting somebody local that you know and that we love. And we love Beth and having you part of our team, even though an extension through Beth, we feel like you're a part of it. So thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You bet. And it's so fun. And hopefully we'll get this out there, and you can. I'm hearing now we need to encourage people that are watching this on YouTube to be subscribing to our YouTube channel. So now everybody's telling me, Erin, you got to start saying in your podcast to subscribe, because
subscribe below.
You subscribe below. That's right. You can watch all the videos. Subscribe below, like and subscribe. So subscribe to our channel. And then, do you have anywhere that you want to kind of put out there too, that people can find you?
I don't yet. I'm working on my website, because that's a whole different ballpark that I'm not used to, but when it's there, it'll be mimilakes.com.
I have a feeling that you're going to need it. So
I'm hoping.
You'll have it up and running. But for now, just Holding On for Santa, and you can find it online, and we'd love to support you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
All right. We'll catch you next time.